Morning, gentlemen. I just got back from the University of Utah Neurosciences Center, where I saw a neurologist who diagnosed me with autoimmune encephalitis, which has been the theory for quite some time now. It's an inflammatory condition of the brain. So if I stutter or if I say something stupid, I have an excuse. But today I want to talk about the hard reset. That's what I coin it, the hard reset. The hard reset is for those people who are impatient on their protocol and they have a hard time getting dialed in. So, for example, the gentleman yesterday, he made a post. He says, I don't feel good on testosterone. He's been on TRT for 3 years. He started on Nebido, which is undecanoate, and he felt incredible for 4 weeks, and then it's all been downhill. He's been on cream, sustanon, enanthate, cypionate, all different doses, frequencies, with HCG, without HCG. He says, I just can't get dialed in. I said to him, when I hear someone that's tried everything, what I really hear is that they have changed administration methods, formulations, dosages, frequencies, and auxiliary meds far too often to even get labs after each change, much less truly take note on what effect a dosage or medication has on you. And I would recommend a hard restart on your protocol. And this is what I define as a hard restart. Start with just test, 100 milligrams per week, split into 2 injections. I actually prefer every 3-day injections because it's basically the same level of convenience, but you're only injecting in the morning. You're not injecting once in the morning and once at night. So 100 milligrams per week, split into 2 injections or every 3-day injections. And then you grab labs at 5 weeks to make tweaks to frequency or dosage if need be. Rinse and repeat. Do not make protocol changes without labs unless you are having unbearable side effects. And that's basically a rule that I would apply, to everybody. If you're not having unbearable side effects, don't make a change until you've grabbed labs so you can compare how you feel with your labs and then make an adjustment. He replied, you know what? You have actually hit the nail completely on the head 100%. I admit I don't stick with things or changes. A reason for that is I seem to be extremely sensitive mentally to medications and even testosterone and its effects, etc. I have probably contributed to my own downfall. So with this gentleman, I recommend the hard reset, and I give explicit numbers because if I don't, people who are impatient will adjust the dose around within the range that I give them. So if I said start with 100 to 150, they'll start at 150, and before it's time for labs, they'll drop down to 125 and then back to 150. So you start exact numbers, 100 milligrams every 3 days or twice a week, and then grab labs and it's just tests, no HCG or anything, even if you're interested in maintaining fertility. And you grab labs at 5 weeks and adjust your dosage and frequency. You can always add in HCG later, right? And maybe at that point you might need to drop your T dose just a little bit as you introduce the HCG. But at least you're only using one medication, so you're not trying to balance a bunch of medications at once, considering this person obviously is having trouble even with just testosterone, which is not unheard of. For this gentleman, he said he in particular was sensitive to dosages and adjustments to medications, including testosterone. So I suggested to him, do the hard reset with 100 milligrams every 3 days, except for, in his case, I suggested every other day because you're going to have even more stable lab values and your labs are going to be more accurate. Because think about it. If you're doing once weekly injections, not only are you having this huge peak and trough, you're going to have very inaccurate labs because you're going to be measuring your labs at the end of the week at your trough value. And then you're going to have to guess where you're at for the remainder of the week. And testosterone cypionate peaks 24 to 48 hours after injection. So your peak is way over, let's say you inject Monday, your peak's going to be on Tuesday, and your trough is going to be the following Monday. So you're going to have basically no idea where you're at on the rest of the days. So with somebody like him who's sensitive to medication changes and medications in general, I recommend injecting as frequent as tolerable. So in his case, a good place to start might be every other day. In which case, if you're injecting any more frequent than every 3.5 days, I would suggest using at least a 27 gauge half-inch, half-cc insulin syringe. Easy Touch, you can buy that on Amazon. They're my favorite. Decreases risk of scar tissue, decreases pain. Only downside is it takes longer to draw up. So there's a few basic things you need to know when you get on testosterone replacement therapy, which is number one, your initial labs are going to be at 8 weeks, right? Because you want to make sure your balls are shut down. But any time you grab labs after that, every time you make an adjustment, you're going to wait 5 weeks and grab labs. Rinse and repeat. after each adjustment until you feel dialed in and your numbers look good on paper and they match. Again, it's more important about how you feel, but you can use your labs as a guide. That's how I always put it. Use your labs as a guide, but how you feel is most important. And it sounds like a headache, but really it's like, look at this guy. It's a lot easier to do it this way, to just wait for labs, do the hard reset, wait for labs, make an adjustment, wait for labs, make an adjustment, wait for labs, and then you're done. Then be the guy who's constantly changing medications in and out and constantly changing dosages and esters and even from gel to injections or from injections to gel to cream to short esters to long esters. These people get caught in a loop of changing their dosages and medication types, etc. And it takes way longer than if you were just did it the right way, which is getting labs. Get your labs, compare it to how you feel, and only make adjustments based on the comparison between your lab work and how you feel. Ultimately, how you feel is most important, but use your labs as a guide, like I said. You're not going to know how you feel on test cypionate on a certain dosage if you don't wait long enough. You have to wait the 5 weeks. And even then, you may feel changes after the 5 weeks, but at minimum, you have to wait the 5 weeks and then grab labs. And then you're going to have a good idea of how you feel on that dosage because you're at peak steady state concentrations where you're stable. And now you have lab work to corroborate or analyze against how you feel and make an adjustment in your frequency or dosage. The beauty of the hard reset. I recommended it many times because there are people out there who have a very difficult time not adjusting their medication all the time. Okay, that's it for today. See you guys later. Bye.
Somewhere on the sea, it got a little longer, so it seems. I burned out, so to speak. Now come a little closer.